You know, in 1921, Miller and Lyles and Cecil and Blake wrote Shuffle Along. That was the first Negro show to play Broadway.
A jazz show like no other arrived on Broadway on May 23rd, 1921. Produced on a shoestring with borrowed costumes and second-hand sets, Shuffle Along featured a rich, rousing score by Noble Sissle and U.B. Blake.
The more I researched about it and the more I got to know inside of it, the more I found it really fascinating that something that was so monumentally significant in 1921, 63rd, it was at the 63rd Street Theater, that great theater, hello, and 63rd was a two-way street. They turned 63rd Street into a one-way street because traffic was so busy with people rushing to see Shuffle Along. It had 3 touring companies. It made $9 million. It ran for 504 performances. It integrated Broadway. It was the first time there was a jazz score. And it was the first time that a women's chorus on Broadway was like a hoofing dancing chorus as opposed to being decorative.
Right.
So it had all these innovations and both cultural and in terms of American musical theater and in terms of New York City. How could something that was so culturally significant end up a footnote that was a footnote to a footnote? And then the more I read about it, the more I realized that it was embraced by uptown and downtown, by highbrow and lowbrow critics. George G. Nathan came to see it 5 times. Mm-hmm. Langston Hughes came to Columbia University because he wanted to go see Shuffle Along. So it had all these fans that were extraordinary. Paul Robeson was a replacement. Josephine Baker tried to join when she was 15. She couldn't get in, so she snuck into a road company. And all these stories just became more and more intriguing to me.
The proudest day of my life was when Shuffle Along opened. At the intermission, all these white people kept saying, I would like to touch him, the man who wrote the music. At last, I'm a human being. U.B. Blake.
After World War I, he and vocalist Noble Sissle developed a vaudeville act called the Dixie Duo. When Sissle and Blake joined forces with another vaudeville team, Miller and Lyles, Shuffle Along was born.
Great comedic talent, great songwriting, and they're introducing a kind of romantic quality about black performers that had never before been seen on stage. Forget being seen, hadn't been allowed. There's a ballad that's introduced in the show, Love Will Find a Way.
Love Will Find a Way.
Love Will Find a Way.
First time was a love song in a Negro show.
And that the song that they said that they couldn't afford to have in a Negro show because the Negroes didn't have romance?
Romance, yeah.
I remember that very well.
Love will find a way. Though now skies are gray. Love like ours can never be ruled. Cupid's not schooled that way. Dry each tear, dimmed eye. Clouds will soon roll by. What I say, love will find a way.
This was profoundly risky, but it paid off. The song was a hit, and the precedent was set.
With Shuffle Along, and was still unquestionably a certain amount of minstrelsy still going on, but because it was created by black artists and performed by black artists, You saw the real juice, you saw the real spark.
You know, to be truthfully honest with you, just from reading the song titles on the album cover, me and, you know, my black friends, in our naivete, sort of rejected this show in the way, because, you know, they had songs like Pickin' Any Shoes and Bandana Land, and we heard that there was blackface, and, you know, without context, without historical context to sort of look at it through that lens, we immediately rejected it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it does me proud on this suspicious occasion to introduce to you a gentleman of great renown, Mr. Samuel Peck. Mr. Peck is a foreigner. You tell him, Steve. He came to this country with the rest of the monkeys. Yeah, cut out the monkey business. Ladies and gentlemen, I made a mistake. Mr. Peck didn't come over here with no monkeys. He came over with the gorillas. If you don't take that back, I'll hit you so hard, they'll put you so far in the hospital that your children for 5 generations going to have to walk on crutches. Ladies and gentlemen, apologies is in order. I'm very sorry that I said Mr. Peck came over with the gorillas. I made a grave mistake, and in saying so, I have insulted. Oh, that's all right. The gorillas.
Shuffle Along, the score is much more sophisticated than the book. But then that's the case of a lot of
all the shows.
All the 20
all the
years
shows,
ago.
yeah.
But I think what ended up happening, a lot of the influences, a lot of the influence that Shuffle Along had got absorbed by other shows. Florence Ziegfeld hired the chorus girls from Shuffle Along to teach his chorus girls how to dance. Will Voldere, who did the vocal arrangements, was also hired by Flo Ziegfeld to do orchestrations for the Ziegfeld Follies for the ensuing years, and also was brought in to do Showboat. Right. So what ended up happening, you know, there's a line in the show, you know, the best of Shuffle Along got eaten alive by more famous shows.